Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Kelly Catalinas with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, and in conjunction with Cindy Bishop Worldwide. And today we have a special guest who will be presenting a webinar on marketing to millennials. I'm very happy to introduce someone very near and dear to me. Sarah Rubin is our Mid-Atlantic Marketing Director here at Fairway. And Sarah really specializes in helping people build their brand and connect with their target audience. And she's been a huge help to us here at Fairway. She has been with Fairway for 4 years and designated in the Mid-Atlantic area for the last 2 years. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Sarah to begin. Thanks, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you for joining us today. I hope everyone is staying healthy and safe and, getting used to kind of the new normal for now. We're going to dive right in. I'm going to pull up a PowerPoint, turn my camera off, but please, as we go through, if you have any questions at all, you can put them in the chat, or you can unmute if you can unmute yourselves and just interrupt me and ask. I do want this to be as interactive as if we were all together in person. And then as we go through, I'll give you tips and tricks, but then also give you all my contact information so that you can follow me on social, as well as reach out if you have any, follow-up questions or things of that nature. So with that, I am going to share my screen. Desktop, share, and pull up the PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm gonna just minimize that. Okay, so today we're really gonna talk about how to communicate with the millennial consumer. So first and foremost, hi, I am a millennial myself, so I am almost, so this is really kind of the world. This is where I live, breathe, but it's also what I've studied. So millennials are those people born, just to level set us, between the years of 1982 and 2000. So people aged currently between about 20 and about 38. So millennials make up about a fourth of the population and have about $600 billion in annual buying power. And I am going to try and minimize this. Sorry. There we go. In annual buying power. So, and on average, they make about $56,000, almost a little bit more yearly before taxes. So it's a huge population. And I like to, say, what does this really mean for all of you? Why are we going through this? Why does what they make, how much they spend really matter? Well, at the end of the day, we're all selling them a product, and not just a $5 hair elastic or something that they can find in any store. We're really selling them their largest investment, and something they'll be in for quite some time. So what impact does this have on you? Roughly a third of millennials are under 35. Roughly a third of millennials under 35 currently own a home. So there's still a huge portion of these millennials that don't own or haven't been able to buy yet. But millennials do make up the largest share of home buyers. So they are actively in the market and they're really interested in buying a home. And learning how to communicate effectively with the population will ensure that you win, and then most importantly, maintain millennial business. And we'll really touch quite a bit on the maintaining millennial business piece, because it's very different than previous generations. But at the end of the day, all of this is to say that this huge population with a tremendous amount of buying power do not all own homes yet, but are super interested in buying them. So what do you need to do? And obviously that's a loaded question, but establishing your value add and building an irreplaceable relationship with the client upon first meeting is really, really important. So millennials are not necessarily easily won over. They are the type to shop around, and so it makes it a little bit more difficult to win. We're going to talk about that part first before we get to the maintain. But the winning the millennial business is kind of the key in all of this. So you have to provide them with something that they can't find on their own. So this is the first generation, and we are already seeing it with Gen Z, which is after millennials. But this is really the first generation that understands that they can find pretty much any answer they need online. So what they need from you is something that they can't Google. They can't just go to Facebook or Twitter or Zillow or Redfin or whatever online resource they have and type in the question they may already have in their head. They need you to provide them with something that they cannot find anywhere else. So if all of your reviews are already online, providing them with your reviews doesn't do so much for you. But what they likely can't find online, and this was actually something I took away from Inman Connect in New York this year. So there is not a single real estate website right now that would allow a home buyer to compare all of the bathrooms in a house, in all the houses they're looking at. So if they wanted to compare all the master bathrooms, there's not a single website right now that would allow them to say, these are the 5 properties I'm interested in, and here are the bathrooms. So if you can provide them with something of that nature, that's the type of stuff that millennials are really looking for. They need something that they can't just type into a search engine. So before we really dive into kind of what makes up the brain of a millennial, let's talk a little bit about the 2 generations before. So baby boomers, so that's about 40 years before millennials. They're really accustomed to mass marketing, totally fine getting a postcard in the mail that is the exact same thing that their neighbors got. They prefer face-to-face meetings, so they want to sit down with you. Right now, they're likely having a lot of trouble with the idea that they can't have a meeting with you. So if you've started to learn Zoom or things of that sort or understand it really well, I absolutely recommend trying to set up Zoom meetings with your baby boomer clients right now. They're really collaborative. They want to work together as a team. They don't want to feel like you work for them. They don't want to feel like they work for you. They really want to work as a team. And they work well with email, phone, and Facebook. But if you start talking to them about Twitter, Snapchat, or dare I say it, TikTok, they're really, really confused. Generation X is about 20 years before our millennials, and they're super independent. So they're completely different than our baby boomers and our millennials. So they really are totally fine doing their entire search for a home online and then coming to you and saying, these are the 5 houses I want to see, or this is the offer I want to present, or something of that sort. Help me get from point A to point B, but I don't need any help along the way. They're super goal oriented. So if they want to purchase a home by age 35, they will do so, or 45 or 55, whatever that situation is. They prefer brief digital communication. So a text message, an email, don't pick up the phone and call them. They prefer not to be bothered between the hours of 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. And this is a stat that everyone usually questions, but really the piece about this is that they're highly family oriented. So They really want to spend those hours either at soccer or cooking dinner or having dinner with their families, putting their kids to bed, whatever that situation might be. But they really don't want to think about anything they deem to be work while it's, quote unquote, family time. They work really well with email, text, IM, Facebook, and Twitter. But again, once you start getting into some of those like really new technologies, it's a little bit foreign to them. And I think the biggest thing about Generation X is that they're not brand loyal. And so that doesn't mean that they're not loyal to just like a real estate company. They're not brand loyal to any individual brand as well. And in real estate or mortgage or whatever the situation is, you are your own brand. So it's a totally different world than a baby boomer or a millennial. So what makes up the millennial generation? How do we connect with them? What makes them different? So the first thing we're going to talk about is that loyalty piece, because it is vastly different than the generation before them. Oh, and I do see a chat coming in. If you're not muted, can you just mute yourself, please? Ooh, about that. Okay. So they are very, very different at the moment. Thank you so much. They really, once you win them over, they are a highly loyal generation. So they truly want to be in your life for a very, very long time. They don't want to just do a single transaction and be out. They want to create a real relationship built on something far more than just a transaction. And once you can do that, they are incredibly loyal to you and will likely purchase multiple houses, list multiple houses with you. So putting in the effort, and a lot of people will say, millennials are a lot of work, they're really demanding, and yes, we can be. I don't deny that. But if you put in that work, they will also be incredibly loyal, refer you to their friends, their family, time and time again, because they really do think of their network as a team and as a family to them. So we're going to go through this check mark a little bit. We're not going to go through every single characteristic, but just highlight some of the big ones. So you'll see the word is quite large on this check mark. They need balance in their lives. And we are seeing this as a stark difference to the generation coming up behind them, if that gives you any kind of hope. So they really don't want to focus on anything too much, whether that's work, whether it's searching for a home, whether it's spending time with friends. They need everything to be equally balanced in their lives. If anything starts taking up too much time, it's just too much. And they'll eliminate the things that kind of take them out of balance. They also really need ease of use. So they need an app to look at homes. They need a way to communicate with you that isn't picking up the phone and having small talk. They just want to send you a quick message, and it's not because they don't want to talk to you, it's just because they don't have enough time if they want to keep everything in balance. They are struggling with debt. So they have put themselves through a tremendous amount of schooling. They highly value education. So they have said, I really want to get X degree, and they'll do it at whatever cost, whether it's a tremendous amount of student loans or whatever. They have taken on a tremendous amount of debt. They also believe in experience. So if they want to go to Europe, they'll do it and they'll finance it on a credit card. They don't care if it means that they're putting themselves in debt. So you're going to be looking at a totally different type of buyer than someone who's saved their whole lives and maybe can easily say, okay, I'm ready to buy a house now. That's why we're seeing the later numbers, the older part of the millennial generation being who's buying, because they have to get rid of some of that debt first. They don't feel like they have the capital to buy a house yet. They do need a sense of purpose. So this is one of the ones that usually people are kind of blown away by, but millennials won't just take a job to take a job. They also won't work with someone just to work with someone. They need to feel like they're belonging to something that has purpose in it. So at the end of the day, you need to highlight what you're doing that has nothing to do with real estate, but is due to real estate. So if your company gives back, you need to be highlighting that to your millennial clients. If you personally give back to a specific cause, I'm not telling you to brag about it, but I'm telling you it does need to be included in your bio. So if you really believe in Make-A-Wish, for example, and 1% of your like yearly transactional income, whatever, or you give back 0.05%, whatever the number is, you give to Make-A-Wish, you need to highlight that, because millennials, they don't have the capital to be giving back. They're already in debt, but they want to work with someone who is giving back, because to them, that's like them giving back. Okay, I worked with Joe Smith. Joe Smith gives back, so therefore my money was giving back as well. It's incredibly important to them. They're not taking jobs at companies because the company isn't philanthropic enough, or they don't believe in the mission of the company enough. Even if the compensation package is great, it's not, for them, it's a holistic, balanced thing. And then really lastly, and these are the kind of last few things we'll go over in this check mark, like I said, they're not easy to trust, not in the sense of they are not easy to trust, but they're not quick to trust you. So you have to continually prove to them that you are doing what's in their best interest. You're not hiding things from them. There's something very different about giving them an answer that's truthful and giving them an answer that's transparent. So for them, they need that transparency, even if it's to say, you know, I don't have anything to report today. That's incredibly, incredibly important to a millennial. They don't trust people easily at all. And the minute you earn their trust, it's really hard to break it, but you have to be showing them that you deserve it. So if you say you're going to call them at 7 p.m., calling them at 7:01 doesn't work for them. They need to be called at 7, and that will make it, or even 6:59. That'll make it so that you're getting those trust points. And then really lastly, in all of this, they're just much later to do things, not doing them. So they're a little bit later to get married, a little bit later to want the white picket fence in the suburbs and all of that. So we are seeing a huge uptick in single buyers. It's just a shift, but they're there. They want to purchase and they want to create real relationships. So don't just push them aside because they're a difficult generation. And they know they're difficult. They really do. They know that they grew up as the recognition generation. So everyone got that soccer trophy because they played. And most of them will recognize that, but it's just in their DNA. So if you can alter your communication style, not your business style, because your business style has made you really successful, you will be really successful with a millennial buyer or seller. Okay, so really the goal in all of this is to be put into as many realtor vetting processes as possible. So a millennial is going to get realtors' names from friends, family, and their general network. But then they're going to research every single name via their digital resources. So they're not just going to say, oh, my mom recommended X realtor, that's who I'm going to work with. They're going to instead say, I have these 10 to 15 names, and I'm going to research every single one of them. They're then going to narrow their search down based on what they see online. And if they can't find you online, you are guaranteed to be crossed off that list. And it doesn't mean that you need to be on every single platform online, but if all they can find is your real estate website, it's not enough for them. because to them, they're saying, okay, there's something they're hiding, or they're not going to know how to work with me in a way that I need to work. They're going to contact the potential realtors they're interested in with a few questions, likely about a property or the home buying process. And they're going to see what those answers are. And they're going to continue to talk to every single one of those realtors until one proves that they're invaluable. So that's why it's so important that you're providing them with something that they cannot find online as quickly as possible, because the goal is obviously to be put into as many realtor vetting processes as possible, but also to come out as the number one realtor in as many of them as possible as well. And so you have to give them something that makes them want to stop talking to other realtors. It's very similar to, like, I hate to compare it to this, but it's very similar to a dating game. It's like, what makes people stop talking to other people? Okay, so what's in your toolbox? And I know people are going to look at some of these and say, oh my, why is that icon there? And no, you don't need to be on every one of these. I am not suggesting that every single person on this call right now go and create a TikTok. I absolutely am not. Do not worry. But we're going to go through each platform. It's important, and I will highlight the ones that I think you really do need to be on, and we're basically going to go from most important to least important. So Instagram, it is the single most important platform for you to be on. There are 1 billion active users today. Instagram stories are used by 500 million users daily, and a third of the most viewed Instagram stories are from businesses. So again, I'm just going to repeat that. There are 5 million users who are using Instagram stories worldwide daily, and a third of them that are most viewed are from businesses. It is a stark difference from any other social media platform. 50% of businesses on Instagram worldwide created at least one story during a typical month. And then what's brilliant about Instagram is they provide 3 different options for a general user. So if you're just, an average human walking down the street, you can just have a personal account. You don't care what the statistics are, doesn't really matter. Totally fine. It's a great place to start. You can have a business account, very similar to Facebook, and you can actually link it to your business Facebook account. But to have a business Instagram account, you do have to have a business Facebook account. They have to verify. Instagram is owned by Facebook. That is the reason for that. And then recently, about 6 to 8 months ago, they released something called Instagram Creator. And that, I will tell you, is what I personally use. Business and Creator are very similar, but the largest difference is that Creator does not require a business Facebook account. And we'll get to why that's so important on the next slide. But the Creator account and the business account allow you to see all your statistics. So which posts are getting a lot of interaction? How many replies are you getting? How many people actually saw your content? How many people viewed your story and quickly swiped past it? How many people exited stories after seeing your story? It gives you a whole bunch of statistics you can use that are super beneficial as you kind of go through your day-to-day. And then a lot of people are like, okay, I get that there are 2 separate things, but which do I use when? So stories are where you share your, quote, daily story. What's happening in your day-to-day life? What are your thoughts? How do you feel about, what's going on? And your feed should truly be your highlight reel. So you could post on your story, 25, 30 times in one day. I'm not saying you have to, but you could. You could be at an open house and taking pictures throughout the house. Totally fine. Your feed should be really a single photo a day at max. And if you're doing multiple photos in a single post, you should really, they don't get as much traction, which is why we don't love it as much. But if, let's say, you're doing a feature of a home and you pick your top 4 or 5 pictures from that house, totally fine. But it should be a highlight reel. It shouldn't be, hey, this is what's going on in my daily life. It should be, this is the best of what's going on. And that's exactly how Instagram is set up to look, so that when you go to your profile, all of your tiles are the highlights of, you know, however long you've been on Instagram. And then when you go to your story, it's, this is how my day, my week, my month progressed. And yes, stories are only there for 24 hours, but you can create highlights, and we can go into all of that in far more depth. If you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to help you and answer any questions. But you can create highlights and keep them so that they're there forever. So if you wanted a real estate highlight, and then like a family highlight, and all different, you know, parts or aspects of your life, that's where you would keep that. So how often should you be posting? If possible, you want to be posting on your story daily and on your feed about 3 to 6 times weekly. Those are just general guidelines. It's not a must. If you're posting on your feed, you know, 3 to 4 times weekly, that's okay. You just don't want to be a ghost. You never want to have someone get that, you know, Sarah Rubin posted for the first time in a long time notification on their phone. Okay, Facebook. So Facebook's kind of the original, and I would say is the second most important social media tool for realtors today. And the reason, especially when we're talking about millennials, and the reason is just based on audience. If we were talking about marketing to baby boomers, Facebook would be the most important, and Instagram might not even be on the list. But as we're talking about millennials, and as you start to get younger and younger, Instagram does outrank Facebook. So there are 2.5 billion monthly active users, 1.6-ish billion daily active users, and 1.7 billion mobile active users. But only 10% of those are in the US and Canada. Users 65 and older are the fastest growing group on Facebook. So that stat is incredibly important. The Facebook demographic is getting older and older and older, which, while they're super important to the population, you have to determine if they're super important to your business. And for some of you, they totally might be. But as we're talking about marketing to millennials, the platform is just not as important. In 2019, the most significant change in Facebook user demographics was among users born in 1945 or earlier. That age group grew from 26% in 2018 to nearly 40% in 2019. Baby boomers spend an average of 52 minutes a day on Facebook. It doesn't have to be 52 consecutive minutes. It's just they spend about 52 minutes a day. The highest traffic occurs midweek between 1 and 3 p.m. Engagement is 18% higher on Thursday and Friday. So if you're thinking about when you want to post, Thursday and Friday are kind of your key, especially from 1 to 3 p.m. Every 60 seconds on Facebook, 510,000 comments are posted, 293,000 statuses are updated, and 136,000 photos are uploaded. So there is by no means nothing happening on Facebook. Facebook is an incredibly active social profile and social network. There is no denying that. It's just you have to decide where your prime demographic is. And then this stat is probably the most important as we talk about millennials. Video accounts for 11% of Facebook content, and 85% of users watch video with no sound. So Mark Zuckerberg was recently quoted saying that by 2021, he anticipates that nearly 0% of content on Facebook will be anything but video. So he is anticipating that text will pretty much get eliminated from Facebook because he wants everything to catalog completely differently. So if you are not doing video and you are using Facebook and you are trying to connect with millennial consumers on Facebook, it is incredibly important that video becomes part of your daily life. It doesn't have to be live video. It can be pre-recorded. And what Facebook has done is they have made it really easy to upload subtitles into your video. So they will transcribe them for you as you upload. You just need to check them because sometimes they're not super accurate and you want to just make sure they're not writing something that's completely off. It's pretty easy in the screen, and you can listen and edit right there. But that will help with that 85% of users who don't watch with sound. They're in a meeting, they're watching the video, there's no sound. But as Facebook transitions from a text-heavy platform to a video-heavy platform, your content will start to catalog better. The algorithm also really prioritizes video content. So video needs to be part of your world. There are both personal and business page options. If your hope is to use Instagram for business, then you need to be using Facebook business pages. Personally, I am not a Facebook for business fan in terms of business pages. The reason for it is about a year and a half ago now, Facebook said, we don't really like our business pages as much. We are going to downgrade them. So they made it really difficult for any of your content to catalog well in their algorithm. So if I like your page and I am friends with you, I am going to see any of your personal page content way before I see your business content. If I'm not friends with you, I may never see your business page content. So it's really important that you are making your personal page have a mix of both personal and business content. So the algorithm I use is if you're new to Facebook or really any social platform, you should be doing one personal post a week and one business post a week. And your business post does not have to be, hey, look at this house. It can be anything that casually mentions what you do. It could be a picture of you holding a mug that has your logo on it. It could be really anything. If you're a little bit more advanced, it would be 2 posts and 2 posts, and then one just kind of anything goes post. So either business or personal. And then if you're advanced, it would be 3, 3, and 1. So you really want to be posting an equal amount personal and business, and then one kind of extra post that could be either. And Facebook's a really great place to share, photos, articles, let your clients know you're a person and not just a professional. It's really important that your clients, especially your millennial clients, can connect to you about something other than real estate. They can find all of your real estate information most likely on your real estate website. The best tip I can give you on Facebook is to create groups to interact with your various networks. So Facebook groups are a great way to target. So as we move away from business pages, it's really helpful to have your friends, or even not actual friends, broken down into groups. So you could have, if you love gardening, you could have a gardening group, and everyone who loves to garden, you could invite to that group. And I guarantee you, as people are talking about gardening, eventually there's going to be a question about a backyard, and it may lend itself to something where you can slip in something about real estate. It's really, really helpful to be active in Facebook groups. And there are people who have built their entire business utilizing various groups that have nothing to directly do with real estate. Okay, LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn, you have to have one. It's not really a heavy lift like Instagram or Facebook might be. LinkedIn has 260 million users monthly. Of those using the platform, only about 40% are accessing it on a daily basis. So a little bit different than Facebook or Instagram. Microsoft actually owns LinkedIn. So it's very different than a social network in a lot of ways. So something that owns PowerPoint and Word and Excel is what's driving this social network. Of the 2 billion millennials globally, 87 million of them are on LinkedIn, and 11 million of them are in decision-making positions. So really, your target demographic of successful millennials who likely have the ability to purchase a house are on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the #1 channel business-to-business marketers use to distribute content at 94%. There are 9 billion content impressions in the LinkedIn feed every week, but only 3 million users share content weekly. So unlike Instagram or Facebook, you don't have to push through as much noise on LinkedIn to get your content seen. It is harder to get interaction on LinkedIn, but you don't have to break through as much noise, and that's really important. LinkedIn makes up more than 50% of all social traffic to business websites and blogs. So where Facebook and Instagram downgrade your content, if you push out to other social platforms, LinkedIn actually likes that. So they're okay with you saying, check out my website or check out my blog, and linking outside of their platform. So if you want more views to your website or you want more views to a landing page that has a property on it, LinkedIn is a phenomenal place to be putting that information. It's not overcrowded. And that is really the biggest thing here. LinkedIn is also just a living, breathing resume. And if you're not there, a lot of people just think you don't truly exist. So you don't have to be on there every day. You don't have to be uploading it or updating it rather multiple times a week. But you have to at least have a profile. All right, YouTube. So YouTube is the second largest search engine in the country, only second to Google, and it is owned by Google. So it has 1.9 billion logged in monthly users. In an average month, 8 out of 10 18 to 49-year-olds watch YouTube. So that's a huge age range. And at the beginning, we said that millennials started at age 20. So this is really your hub. While 90% of America, 18 to 24-year-olds use it. So really, you are starting to talk about that like prime demographic right here. YouTube, like I said, YouTube is the world's second largest search engine. It's the second most visited site after Google. The average mobile viewing session lasts more than 40 minutes. So people are coming into YouTube and staying on YouTube, which is very different than most social platforms. 1/5 of YouTube users say the platform is very important for helping them understand what's happening in the world. So they're looking at YouTube to understand what's going on. They're not reading the news or watching the news, they're going to YouTube. Among millennials, YouTube accounts for 2/3 of the premium online videos watched across all devices, and 9% of US small businesses use YouTube. Video is crucial, and YouTube is the most valuable video platform. So if you are starting to use video, you need to create a YouTube channel. These are the 4 biggest social media platforms for millennials. The first 2 take pretty much a daily, weekly discipline. The second 2 do not. YouTube, yes, you need to be uploading content, but it's not a daily upload. It's probably once a week, maybe once every other week, a couple times a month. And it's really just about having a presence, but these 4 are really kind of the bread and butter. We are going to talk about a few others, but if you're like, whoa, this is a lot, pick one, start there, and build. But if you ask me to rank them, this is how I rank them. All right, Twitter, it's not going anywhere. Really, I look at it as a news outlet. It's 330 million monthly active users and 140 million active daily users. Approximately 63% of Twitter users worldwide are between 35 and 65 years old, with the median age being 40. So it does skew a little bit older. The average user spends 3.39 minutes per session. So people are pretty much in and out. They're there to look up something specific and then they leave. Twitter's popularity as an outlet for news has been on the rise, and that's pretty much the #1 reason people use Twitter. So right now, as the market is a little bit crazy, for a lack of a better word, people are on Twitter. People are looking to see what people have to say about what's going on. It's a great place to insert yourself in the conversation and get attached to trending hashtags. But in general, it is a news outlet. And as much as real estate is prevalent in the news, there's not always things you want to attach to, because we do urge people to stay as neutral as possible on their social media platforms as they're using them for work. Okay, TikTok. I know I'm going to lose most people right here, so we're going to go through it really fast. It's the newest craze. It has 5 million active users worldwide, but 41% of them are between 16 and 24. So it is super young. We are talking mostly about Gen Z, but it is the fastest growing social media platform. And it is an alternate video sharing platform. It's really, at this point in time, fun, but people are telling businesses that they should be claiming their handles. So as it starts to grow and pick up, you already have kind of your profile claimed. It's not super prevalent in the real estate industry yet, but it's something you want to just keep your eye on. Like I said, you don't need to worry about it yet. At the beginning, I'm 29. I can't bring myself to get on TikTok. I don't know how long I'll be in my house. It might be the next thing I try, but I don't think you need to worry about it at this point in time. A year from now, that story might be totally different. So just keep your eye on the trend. If you have kids at home, I would be willing to bet that they are on TikTok. So you can talk to them about kind of what they're doing, why they're doing it. The most interesting thing I have heard lately is that Gen Z, which is underneath millennials, they look at the trend and they join a trend. They're not looking to start a trend, they're looking to join a trend. And that's what TikTok has been. So again, not going to talk too much about it. Don't think you need to worry about it yet. Really the biggest thing of all of this is social media is a way to stay connected. And millennials want you to be in their life long after a sale is done. So you need to connect with them on social media immediately so that they can connect with you on a personal level, even if they never, meet you in person. So they may decide, I'm not gonna buy a house right now. Thank you so much for talking to me. And you may never actually sit down in person. But if they connect with you on social media and they are continuously seeing you, when they decide to actually pull the trigger and buy that house or sell their house, you will be top of mind. You will have mind share for them. And that's super important. Millennials do not want a transaction to be the end of a relationship. They want nothing to be transactional. And so I can't stress it enough. Let them into your world even just a little bit, and they will be loyal to you. It's going to take us to the end of the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Does anyone have any questions I can answer for anyone? I don't know. I think everyone's muted now. You can put any questions in the chat. I will put up my, so you can follow me on Facebook. My name is Sarah with an H, Rubin, R-U-B-I-N. On Instagram, it's Sarah Elise Rubin, E-L-Y-S-E. And those are kind of my two big social media platforms. On Facebook or on LinkedIn, it's Sarah Slotnick Rubin. So happy to connect, happy to answer any questions that you all have. You can put questions now in the chat. Happy to answer whatever you may have.
Well, thanks, Sarah. You've done a great job, and I'm sure everybody agrees, and we're going to have to lobby for you to do an Instagram class because that is something they really don't understand. Okay, I'm just telling you. So being a coach, I see that, and that would be really fantastic. So, yeah, so if you, so everybody, thank Sarah. She's wonderful. Send her a chat. Say thank you very much. excellent recording. We will have this link sent to all of you that were on the call. And also, just so everyone knows, we have at cindybishopworldwide.com, we have several upcoming events of things you talked about, Sarah. One on March 24th is, and it's under webinars and under coaching calls. On March 24th, using Facebook groups is actually going to be on a webinar. And April 13th, on one of our coaching calls that we do on Mondays, Dave Redenbaugh is going to be doing how to use Zoom video conferencing. So if you have any questions about that, everybody knows my email. I'm also going to send them your contact information that you just left with, so that they're not just writing it down, they're getting it in an email. So make sure you forward.
Awesome, and I'll put it in the chat as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks very much. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, everybody, for being on. And hopefully some of you will jump on for the using Facebook groups, how to use Facebook groups on March 24th. So have a super day, and thanks again.